How you doing? Thanks for joining me along the banks of the McKenzie River. I'm Tobin. I've come back to one of my favorite spots. I've shaved the location that I'll be shaving at today 3 or 4 times in the past. I'll attach those in the description. This and Doris are the 2 locations that I've decided to return to. Because, emotional attachment, like I talked about before, coming to these places my entire life. But also, like I said in my last Doris video, because this gives me a great opportunity to showcase the seasons here in the Pacific Northwest. And for this shave, I have the distinct privilege and honor to be reviewing a brand new product from Heritage Hill. My favorite fragrance is John Paul Jones. And I've been blessed with the good fortune to be the first to try the Splash. This is the bottle that they're hoping to go with. That will not be the label though. This label came from the soap. So this will not be the retail label. This is just for my sample bottle in my review. John Paul Jones, pirate, patriot, father of the U.S. Navy, and an amazing fragrance from our friends at Heritage Hill. If you've seen my Artisan Spotlight video, you know that I love Heritage Hill and that they make several fragrances that I really love. But easily hands down my favorite from them, John Paul Jones, and it would definitely be in one of my all-time favorite fragrances lists. It's just so damn good. I've already loaded my bowl. I have my vintage 39C. The scoop, I'll double check with Carlos where he got this from. This was a gift. I believe he got it off of Amazon. But I'll see if I can't get a link from him and put it in the description. I actually would like to see if they have anything anymore like it. If I stop moving, the camera will probably do better. Let's try that. And I will be loading a first use. Is that upside down? Yes. First use perma-shot. I have my perma-sharp loaded. I've already scooped my soap and I've begun whipping it up. The scent profile on John Paul Jones. We have bay rum, teakwood, cedar, bergamot, and patchouli. That's it. When I think about it, most of their fragrances only comprise 4 or 5 notes. Some of them are less. Washington, for example. I will have links in the description to my Artisan Spotlight in case you haven't seen it. I've so far done 4 videos in that series: Sterling, Bear Stearns Man, Bricktown Grooming, and Heritage Hill. I'm currently working on a couple more. This was the first fragrance I ever bought from Heritage Hill, and I immediately turned right around and bought Washington. These 6-ounce tubs, the soap from Bricktown, soap from Heritage Hill, is a harder soap. It's still it's still classified as a crope, but it's definitely not super soft like what we get from Phoenix or most other artisans today. It is on the harder end of the spectrum of croaks. It is still a croak. It is a soft soap. It is firmer, harder than most of the croaks on the market today, and it is a tallow base. And it's easily one of my favorite bases. It is just so damn good. It really, really is. Bought this hat a couple months ago. Oh, she's maybe longer than that now. I started doing these videos in March. I think I got this maybe in April. No. Anyways, had it for a while. I did buy it. The Splash. I bought the soap. The Splash is a gift from Heritage Hill. They gave it to me for review. I consider John, the artisan, a friend. We talk. I was actually just sending him pictures from my hike. And as I'm sure you've seen by now, I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to structure the video. When I was doing my shave of the day pics, I was standing on top of a bald hornet's nest. Didn't expect to see it, and even more surprising than that is they didn't bother me. And I was standing over that nest for probably a good 5 or 10 minutes, probably 10 minutes, because I did several setups. I'll take, a soap set, my shave of the day, set it up, take photos from different angles, move it, repeat, move them around, repeat. And so I've probably done 3 or 4 different move arounds, and then 5 or 10 pictures from each little setup on that log. And the whole time standing right above and all around these giant bald-faced hornets. They didn't seem to mind though. They're busy building their nest. I'm thankful for that. I actually watched a Cocker Spaniel one time years ago run headfirst into a nest. Oh, never seen a Cocker Spaniel run so fast. It ended up being just fine. It had to go to the vet. It got stung so many times it wasn't even funny. I don't even know if they got an accurate count. It got stung so many times, but he was fine. His name was Louis, and Louis did just fine. Oh, John Paul Jones. So teakwood, masculine, bold, rich fragrance, warm, woodsy. It can have a slight bit of spice to it. So with John Paul Jones, you got the bay rum, which is spicy, cedar, and teakwood are 2 of my favorite woods. Of course, I have a special place in my heart for things like Douglas fir, living in the Pacific Northwest. But cedar is so comforting. Classify cedar as like an aromatic type of woody fragrance. Bergamot is of course a citrus. And patchouli, earthy, musky, outdoorsy. John Paul Jones, for those who have never tried the soap. Masculine it is, very masculine. Just like how I imagine the man himself would be. Rinse this. I need to fill up my bowl, pardon me. I've been taking photos of my shave of the day on this old log, and I just noticed that I'm standing on top of a bald-faced hornet's nest. John Paul Jones does have bay rum in it, but it's not your typical bay rum fragrance, as you might guess from looking at the profile. I absolutely love it. I fell in love with it the very first time I used it. And when John contacted me, if you've seen I don't want to assume too much. I don't like it when I assume, because I always assume wrong. In my Artisan Spotlight-ish video, I talked about JPJ, the man, and this fragrance is kind of like how I would expect a guy like him to smell when John creates a fragrance. He tries to impart the feeling of the place, and so what he's trying to accomplish with John Paul Jones is like you're on one of those old ships, like what's on the label. John Paul Jones was a captain, one of the founding fathers. So imagine yourself on one of these old ships, you're down inside of it, and have the bay rum stored in there, and these are like all the smells that you'd be smelling down in there. The citrus, the patchouli, you know, the earthy, the musk that would be down in there, the bay rum, the teakwood, the cedar. Expertly crafted fragrance. So I talked about in that video, Artisan Spotlight, that they were working on splashes and that they're hoping to have those out in 2023 sometime. That time frame still stands. I asked John the other day. Oh gosh, it smells so good, you guys. And now here outside it smells even better, I swear. Fragrances smell better outside. Not all, but there's a few of them like this one. And they are going to be doing the entire line of soaps in splash form. These are an alcohol-based splash. At some point, John said that he would like to work on some balms, like a witch hazel type aftershave. So I've been using the soap for a year or two now. They'd only been out a few months when I picked this up, maybe 4 or 5 months, I don't know. Had it for a while though. The splash is new to me, and like I said, the splash is a gift. I got it last week, and starting Tuesday of this week, it's now Sunday. So on Tuesday of this week, I started using John Paul Jones soap and John Paul Jones splash only. I did it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then here we are today. I'm using it again. I've been playing with the fragrance on the back of my hand. I have it there now. It smells exactly like you would want it to smell. If you've experienced the soap, take that fragrance and give it depth. Bring it. If the soap is black and white, this is like full spectrum in color. The splash is just all the notes that are in the soap are there. They just smell better. I want to say like more real, but that's not the word I'm looking for. But you got to experience it. I'm so proud of you, John. I know you were busting your knuckles to create an amazing product, and I believe you've done that. The post-shave feel is exactly what you'd expect from an Artisan in 2022. Friday night and Saturday night, I started experimenting with the post-shave. What I did was, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, post-shave, phenomenal. So then I thought, okay, well, how does this compare to some of my other favorites? Previous to this splash, when I would use John Paul Jones, the aftershaves that I would use are no quarter bay rum, no quarter from Bricktown. That's his bay rum, Phil's bay rum. And other splash that I really like to use was Captain Smythe's Reserve from Phoenix Artisan, and that's in splash form only. There is no soap for that, so that splash is meant to accompany other soaps, because Doug has never made a soap for it. So Friday did no, I shaved with John Paul Jones. And then for my post, no quarter bay rum, John Paul Jones splash. I'm about to lather my whole face again. Saturday night, sorry, Captain Smythe, John Paul Jones. The post-shave feel on Bricktown and Heritage, almost identical. It could have just been from the way I shaved. My left side compared to my right side. The left side seemed to have a little bit more of a alcohol burn to it. Not the left side, the John Paul Jones side, this side, had a little bit more of an alcohol kick to it. And by that I just mean that, you know, it burned a little more. The alcohol did. On Saturday night, I switched it to the other side, and the burn with it was exactly the same as with Captain Smythe. I normally shave at night like I'm doing right now. It's 5 o'clock, 5:10. And by bedtime, I had my wife feeling both cheeks both nights. Wife approved. Oh, buddy. You know, so we have a term in wet shaving called face turbating, right? I don't want to say it too loud in case people are listening. The only thing better than doing that yourself is when your wife does it. Can I get an amen? I've said this in my Artisan Spotlight video. I may have said it in my soap video that I did from the Magnolia Park when I did my John Paul Jones soap last spring. John is an overachiever, and by that I just mean that he wants to produce the very best, and he's just, you know, strikes me as that kind of guy. I've never met him in person, just talked to him on the phone, you know, talked to him on social media, and he doesn't want to bring anything to market that isn't the very best out there, and I admire that. It's, you know, it's one of the reasons why the soap base is so good. If you've experienced the soap, then you can relate that that's exactly what he was after with the splash. Once again, this is not the final label. This is just a label that they cut off of a soap tub and put on here. It'll have a completely different label. They are wanting to go with this bottle. A problem that John was having when he sent me this, I think he since fixed it, was he didn't like the restrictor, so we call it. I'm having a brain fart. It'll come to me, but you know what this is. It's a little big, and so you got to be careful how it pours out. But this is not what he's going to be bringing to market. The bottle he wants to bring to market, the flow restrictor. This doesn't sound right. The flow restrictor and the bottle. The restrictor is not going to be in the final product. The sticker, the label, is not going to be on the final product. But John, you don't need to change this. I think when it comes to a version 1 splash, a version 1, V1, that this is top tier. The post-shave feel is absolutely amazing. It's right up there with the best of the best, and I consider Bricktown Grooming and Phoenix Shaving to be perfect examples of top tier, top of the line, best in class performance. Oh, it smells so good. The soap has like come to life. I'm having to do it a little differently with this big restrictor, so I'm just like putting a bunch on my thumb and then spreading it around. Actually at home what I did was I took a little bottle dropper thing and I filled it up with it, but this stuff is amazing. I can't say enough good things about it. It is John Paul Jones, exactly what you'd expect, exactly what you would want. If you have a fragrance from Heritage Hill that you enjoy, you're gonna love the splash. Like right now, the splash burn is normal. I don't think there's any more alcohol burn or anything going on in this than there is in other stuff. But I wanted to share with you, what I experienced compared to PAA and Bricktown with my side-by-side comparison. Post-shave feel is identical. My face felt moisturized, hydrated, healthy, nourished. I'm having a hard time talking, but I normally do, right? And hours later, it still felt like that, the fragrance in this. So I wore it to work, and I've worn it around the house many times on the back of my hand, trying to see how long the fragrance will actually last. Because when I put it on my face, it's kind of hard to tell how long the fragrance will last. 5 to 7 hours, I can still detect it on the back of my hand. To wrap this up, let me once again say thank you to Heritage Hill for this opportunity. This stuff is a straight banger. It's freaking amazing. If you love John Paul Jones, you're gonna love this. If you have a fragrance from them that you love, I have a damn good feeling that you're gonna love it too. There's a boat about to drift by, a couple guys fishing. And howdy. They're waving at me. Maybe I should tell them about the good news. Focus, Tobin. It's the little big things, guys. And one of the little big things is the relationships that I've made in this community. People like Carlos, people like Angelo, people like John at Heritage Hill, Phil Decker at Bricktown Grooming, Wendell. There's so many of you. I could stand here for the next 10 minutes and name guys and a couple gals that I've met along this wet shaving journey. And I don't take any of our relationships for granted. It's those kind of little big things that I'm talking about. Tomorrow's Monday. Enjoy the day. One of the ways I get through my day is I always try and focus on the little big things that I might be stuck in traffic or doing something else, and I'm like, God damn, this sucks. But then I remind myself, it's the little big things. Got all my fingers and toes. Well, yep, still got them all. Damn fine shave. Y'all take care. And seriously, it's the little big things. Like not falling into a river. Take care.